Greetings, everyone. I am Lasha Pataraia from CASE, and I'm thrilled to be here today on that stage where we can exchange our ideas, have a great networking, and work for the common problems that our society faces today. The Caucasus Academy of Security Experts is the educational institution, plus the think tank, who is exclusively focused on cybersecurity, intelligence, anti-terrorism, and other security disciplines, dedicated to advance security as a profession. Today we are here to address a significant issue, and that is the cybersecurity. These words mean a great deal to us. We can have lots of benefits, totally 1,000 miles, buy a product without leaving our homes or workplaces, even get a degree from the web. But make no mistake about it, journalists, because all these benefits are also the source of new threats that most of the governments, business organizations, and individuals are not that familiar with. Threats such as identity theft, cyber intelligence, cyber wars, cyber terrorism, corporate espionage, and the privacy, which is the hardest topic around the globe in today's world, where the key players we have hackers, criminal organizations, and intelligence agencies. In today's world, you can go shopping online and order an actual DDoS attacks to crash down your opponent's whole infrastructure. It's getting more available. You can go shopping online and get sophisticated spy gadgets that only spies in the past had. So this is whole new reality. And again, today's topic will be this incredible path from nuclear to the cyber powers, where we face the fifth dimensional warfare. So for the decades, our biggest threats were the nuclear warfare. Biggest threats among the superpowers. But if we will think about it, how many times does the nuclear weapon has been used? It was only 2 times, right? It was Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So nuclear capabilities are not invisible. For most of the countries, it remains as a capability, actually possibility without the capability to deliver. So you can't stay invisible with the nuclear capabilities, because at least what you do is a test detonations, and here you go on the radar. And now the cyber warfare comes in. If we look at the warfare evolution, we had World War II, where it took hundreds of planes, strategic bombers, and thousands of tons of ammunition to destroy logistic and economical capabilities. During the Vietnam, it took less planes to accomplish the same objective. During the Gulf War, it took only 1 plane with a really big one bomb. So in today's world, it takes only one click of a button, as essentially all the key processes, would it be critical infrastructure, government operations, are fully automatized. So we are facing new threats that are targeting our nation's critical infrastructure. Would it be, again, government operations, emergency services, transportation, telecommunication, power grid, banks, and finances. And most of these objects are not government-owned, so they're harder to protect. So speaking of cyber, it is cheap or even free. It's got more available. It has this surprising effect that you can never expect. And it's more sexier even though. Because we saw guys with the posters, no nukes, no nukes. Have you ever saw anybody running and screaming, we don't need cyber warfare? It is attractive and it is more available. So I think we can all agree that threats from the virtual space really can create damage outside of that space. It's not anymore the topic of Hollywood or fiction. It's a real threat that could create real and as much lethal damage as any other CBRN, weapons of mass destruction, or any other threats. Who are the key players here? We have nation states, non-state players, and hacktivists. For instance, during the Russo-Georgian War in 2008, it was the first time in history where actual cyber attacks were used and combined with the military actions, kinetic operations. And it actually was the first cyber war in the world. Then we followed the Crimea case. The biggest effect of that cyber attacks was the denial of communication between government and public and private communications that lead us to, when restored this communication, Russian separatists were already at the strategic places, tactical strategic places. Then we have OPM breach, Office of Personnel Management. Recently, there was a big breach, thousands, even millions of data of US military personnel and law enforcement personnel. Their data was leaked. And starting from 1990s till now, all this data is vulnerable. That creates tons of other vulnerabilities outside of the cyberspace, because that included the background check information, that included personal information, and et cetera, et cetera. Now look at what's going on now. We have an ISIS, first time, conducting the military-style cyber warfare campaign against ISIS, anonymous against ISIS. So big question here is, should United States and NATO respond the cyber warfare as if a conventional attack? So here where comes the non-state players, because non-state players are not directly linked to specific government or military entities. So while East uses the non-state organizations to conduct cyber warfare, would it be Syrian Electronic Army, Iran, or etc., the West uses and affiliates their components in military and government operations. There's a difference. Why is that so? Because East also maintains the flexibility and, most importantly, deniability about the cyber warfare. For instance, we had this case in 2008 where all the tracks were leading to Russian business network. This is a private-owned company operating in Russia. All the cyber attacks were coming from that servers. But after that investigation, there was no any legal link to the government. So it wasn't government-conducted operation on the legal basis. It was a non-state player who did all this, and there was no any linkage about this. So in this reality where we have cyber warfare, cyber intelligence, cyber crime, new domains that needs to be researched and addressed, the key solution for that could be only an adequate education that would create proactive professionals. And this is where the case comes in. So we are academy operating more than 5 years of experience teaching law enforcement, military, corporations, and students. And what we offer is for the companies, governments, and individuals to protect their security in cyberspace. Thank you very much.